There comes a point in a man's life when the world, for all its noise and promise, begins to sound distant. It's not depression. It's not a crisis. It's a quiet signal, faint at first, that the path he's been walking is no longer his own. The ambitions he was handed, the approval he was trained to seek, the version of himself he was supposed to build, it all starts to feel like a costume that no longer fits. This is the first, almost imperceptible tremor of self-realization. It doesn't arrive with a bang, but with a whisper that says, "This is not you." For years, perhaps for decades, he has been an architect, carefully constructing a self. He gathered bricks of achievement, mixed mortar from others' expectations, and designed a facade based on what earned nods of approval. He built a personality, a career, a set of opinions, a way of being in the world. And from the outside, the structure looked sound. It looked impressive. It looked like a life. But inside, in the quiet hours, he feels the draft. He hears the hollow echo in rooms he was told would be full. He lives in the building but feels no sense of home. The realization begins not with finding something new, but with sensing this profound, unsettling hollow within the old. He looks at his own reflection and sees a polite stranger. This hollowness is the gateway. First, he tries to fill it. He acquires more, achieves more, socializes more. He turns up the volume of his life to drown out the quiet signal. But the whisper persists. It grows. It starts to interrupt him in the middle of conversations, during meetings, in the glare of success. It asks simple, devastating questions. Why are you doing this? Who are you trying to please? Where are you really in all of this? These questions are the beginning of the end of the performance. They are tools for demolition. Gentle, persistent tools that begin to loosen the bricks he so carefully laid. He starts to notice the scripts. Every interaction, every ambition, every quiet moment of self-doubt seems to follow a pre-written narrative. The script for the ambitious professional. Always hungry, slightly restless, measuring worth by milestones. The script for the good son, the reliable friend, the strong partner. Always available, endlessly supportive, swallowing his own needs to maintain the role. He sees himself reciting lines he never wrote, playing a part in a play whose theme he never chose. The shock isn't that the world is staged. The shock is realizing he has been an actor who forgot he was acting. He believed the character was him. Now, he's starting to remember there is someone backstage. This remembering is a slow, often painful process of unlearning. It is the stripping away of everything that is not innate, not true, not him. It is the dissolution of the constructed self. Imagine a man who has worn a heavy, ornate mask for so long he believes the mask is his face. The process of unlearning is the careful, terrifying, exhilarating removal of that mask. He must peel away the layers of should and must and they expect. The layer of I need to be important. The layer of I must be liked by everyone. The layer of my pain is a weakness to be hidden. The layer of my value is in what I provide. One by one they come off, and beneath them is not immediately a shining, perfect face. There is rawness. There is vulnerability. There is the tender skin of a self that hasn't seen the light in years. It feels excruciatingly exposed. This is where the journey inward truly begins. He turns away from the crowded marketplace of opinions and enters the empty auditorium of his own being. The silence there is deafening. It is a silence populated not by absence, but by everything he has avoided. Unspoken grief, unacknowledged fear, forgotten dreams, suppressed anger, a lifetime of unfelt feelings and unasked questions, all waiting in the shadows. Most men run from this silence. They mistake it for emptiness, for failure, for madness. They rush back to the noise, to the scripts, to the familiar ache of the mask. But if he stays, if he has the courage to sit in that empty auditorium and simply listen, the silence begins to transform. It is in this silent, unscripted space that he starts to hear his own voice. Not the voice of the father, the mentor, the culture, or the critic, but a voice that is quieter, older, and more certain. It doesn't shout commands or offer quick fixes. It speaks in intuitions. in gut feelings, in sudden, clear knowings that have no logical proof. It is the voice that says, "Leave this room, call that person, walk in that direction. This path, though illogical, is yours." It is the voice of essence, the whisper of the unmasked self. Learning to trust this voice is the single most important skill of the inner journey. It is his only true compass. As he practices listening, a new landscape emerges within him. He discovers territories he never knew he possessed, a capacity for peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a well of compassion that starts with himself, a sense of worth that is inherent, unearnable, and unlosable. He finds corners of creativity he thought were dead, reservoirs of patience he didn't know he had, and a humor that is gentle and real, not performative. This internal landscape becomes his true home. The more time he spends exploring it, the less he needs from the external world. The desperate need for validation softens. The obsession with achievement relaxes. The fear of rejection dims. He is no longer a beggar at the banquet of other people's opinions, hoping for scraps of approval. He has found his own source of nourishment. This, of course, creates a distance, a beautiful, necessary distance. He begins to interact with the world from this new inner home, and it changes everything. He no longer engages in conversations to extract validation. He engages out of genuine curiosity, or he chooses silence. He no longer says yes out of obligation. He says yes from desire, or no from respect for his own energy. He stops manipulating outcomes and starts accepting realities. He releases the exhausting project of trying to control how others perceive him. This is often mistaken for detachment, for coldness. But it is not cold. It is clear. It is the warmth of a man who no longer needs to use others as a mirror to see himself. He has found his own reflection, and it is enough. The old life, the constructed self, does not vanish overnight. It lingers like a ghost. Habits of people-pleasing, pangs of old insecurities, the seductive pull of familiar dramas, they all whisper, trying to lure him back onto the old stage. The inner journey is not a linear path to permanent enlightenment. It is a daily choice, a moment-by-moment decision to listen to the inner voice over the outer noise, to choose authenticity over approval, to value clarity over comfort. Some days he stumbles. Some days the mask feels tempting, but the taste of truth, once savored, makes the performance unbearable. He may forget his lines, but he can no longer believe in the play. By the end of this first great phase of unlearning, he stands in a strange and powerful in-between space. The old identity is in ruins, but a new one is not yet fully formed. He is not who he was, but he is not yet who he will be. This is a sacred, fragile, and potent time. It is a time of pure potential. He has cleared the ground. He has silenced the false gods. He has met himself raw and real. He is no longer living a life designed by others. He is standing finally on his own land. And from this place of cleared, honest ground, the real work, the work of building a true life from the essence outward, can begin. But that is the next part of the journey. For now, he breathes in the unfamiliar air of his own freedom. It is terrifying. It is quiet. And for the first time in a long time, it is his own. The space after the unlearning is the most disorienting a man will ever know. The old landmarks are gone. The scripts have been burned. The crowd has faded into a distant murmur. He stands in the cleared ground of himself, and the silence is absolute. This is not peace, not yet. It is a profound and terrifying neutrality. He has successfully stopped being who he was not. But the question now echoes in the emptiness. Who am I? The journey of becoming is the slow, deliberate, and often clumsy answer to that question. It is the process of building a life not from borrowed blueprints, but from the raw, authentic materials of his own discovered essence. This phase begins with a deep, unsettling stillness. He is accustomed to motion, chasing, striving, performing, fixing. Now, there is nowhere to run because the only direction left is inward, and he is already there. The initial impulse is to fill the void immediately, to find a new passion, a new purpose, a new identity to cling to, but true becoming refuses to be rushed. It demands a period of active waiting. This is not passive laziness. It is the most difficult work of all. It is the work of holding the space open, of resisting the urge to jump onto the next convenient train of thought, belief, or ambition just to escape the station of uncertainty. He must learn to tolerate the blank page. In this blankness, his perceptions sharpen to an almost painful degree. He starts to see the world without the filter of his old desires. He notices how much of human activity is a frantic avoidance of this very stillness he now inhabits. People run from silence into noise, from solitude into shallow connection, from self-reflection into endless productivity. He watches the dance, but the music no longer compels him to move. He becomes a quiet observer in his own life. This observational stance is often mistaken for apathy. It is not. It is the deepest form of respect for the moment, for the truth of what is, before imposing what he thinks should be. He is allowing reality to introduce itself to him on its own terms. From this place of observation, genuine desire begins to emerge. Not the loud, ego-driven wants of the past. I want to be rich, I want to be admired, I want to be important, but small, quiet whispers of authentic inclination. I feel drawn to walk in the woods. I would like to learn this, for no reason. I enjoy that person's company, not for what they represent, but for the peace I feel beside them. These are the first true seeds of a self-authored life. They are fragile and must be protected from the inner critic, the ghost of the old self that scoffs. That's not productive. That's not impressive. That's a waste of time. He learns to honor these whispers as sacred instructions. He follows a curious pull, not knowing where it leads, trusting that the compass of his essence is pointing true north. This trust is the foundation of a new integrity. Integrity, he discovers, is not about moral righteousness in the eyes of others. It is the integration of the inner self with the outer life. It is the alignment of action with essence. For the first time, he starts to make choices that have no external justification. He leaves a lucrative path for a simpler one. He ends relationships that are based on habit, not truth. He spends his time in ways that feel nourishing but look odd to others. He says, "This is me," with his life, not his words. Each choice made from this inner alignment, no matter how small, is a brick laid in the foundation of his true character. Feels risky, for it invites judgment. But it also brings a sense of solidity he has never known. He is building a house he can actually live in, room by room. A new relationship with purpose emerges. He no longer seeks a single, grandiose purpose with a capital P to give his life meaning. That search, he realizes, was another form of seeking external validation, a desire for a label impressive enough to silence his own doubts. Instead, he finds purpose in the grain of his daily existence. Purpose is in the attention he gives to a task, in the honesty he brings to a conversation, in the care with which he listens to his own body and mind. Purpose is not a destination to reach. It is a quality of presence to bring to wherever he is. His mission becomes the simple, profound act of being fully alive and authentically himself in each moment. This shifts his energy from relentless striving to rooted being. This rootedness changes his presence in the world. He becomes less reactive. Insults glance off him, not because he is thick-skinned, but because his sense of worth is no longer tied to other people's opinions. Flattery finds little purchase, for he is no longer hungry for it. Drama and chaos, which once felt magnetically engaging, now feel like storms he has no need to enter. His calm is not indifference. It is a stability so deep that the surface disturbances cannot shake it. People sense this. Some are drawn to it like warmth. Others are repelled by it, for his non-reactivity refuses to fuel their own conflicts. He becomes a mirror in which others see their own agitation, and not everyone likes the reflection. He begins to relate differently. The old model of relationship was transactional. I will give you this so that you give me that: approval, security, identity. The new model is based on shared sovereignty. He seeks connections where two whole people choose to share their journeys, not use each other to complete themselves. These connections are rarer, quieter, and infinitely more substantial. There is no desperate clinging, no fear-based control. There is space, respect, and a mutual appreciation for the solitude that each person carries within them. He can love more deeply precisely because he no longer needs to love in order to feel whole. His love becomes a gift, not a demand. A profound sense of responsibility awakens within him, but it is a responsibility that starts and ends with himself. He takes radical ownership of his energy, his attention, his emotional state, and his life. He stops blaming circumstances, the past, or other people for his inner world. This is not self-blame. It is ultimate empowerment. If he is angry, he explores the anger within himself. If he is uninspired, he asks what within him is blocked. The world ceases to be something that happens to him and becomes a field upon which his internal state is expressed. This is the final stage of the inner journey, the realization that inner and outer are not separate. The clarity and peace he has cultivated within inevitably shape the reality he experiences without. The man who has traveled this path is often unrecognizable from the one who began it. Yet he has not become someone else. He has become more himself. The noise has fallen away, leaving the signal clear. The performance has ended, leaving the person present. He walks through the same world, but he experiences a different reality. He sees the same struggles, but he is entangled in none of them. He feels the same emotions, but he is drowned by none of them. He has learned that self-realization is not a trophy to be won, but a presence to be lived. The journey never truly ends. It simply deepens. There is no final arrival, only a continual unfolding, a gentle, endless becoming. He no longer seeks to find himself, for he knows he is not lost. He is here, in the breath, in the silence between thoughts, in the choices made from a place of quiet knowing. He has returned from the long exile of performing and has come home to the simple, unshakable fact of his own existence. And in that homecoming, he finds not just a life, but life itself, experienced directly, intimately, and at last, truthfully.